What up YouTube, it's Eddie again with another OTAQUEST video. This is actually the first episode in a new series that we're starting, and I want to introduce you to my boy Nelson here. Nelson's been a long-time member of the OTAQUEST family. He actually helped us produce both of the OTAQUEST live events here in LA, and he's like a consummate collector. Like, he collects shoes, he collects art, he collects toys, and it's a mixture of stuff from like all over the world and a lot of Japanese inspired stuff. So I thought it'd be cool to start up a program with him where he could kind of talk about some of the cooler stuff going on in like these different aspects of street art and collecting culture, I guess, in such a way. And so today we're going to talk about Medicom Toy, who's like a legendary name in the space. And Nelson's got like just a plethora of stuff that they've released over the years. So I was gonna ask him to give me a little bit of, or give us a little bit of background on Medicom and kind of talk a little bit about like their key pieces, some of the work that they've done, and how they've influenced toy and collector culture around the world over the years.
I'm gonna leave now. This was amazing. Thank you, YouTube world, for allowing me some time here. Thanks to OTAQUEST. Thank you, Eddie, bro. I really appreciate this. You know, collecting art, Japan has been such a big passion of mine my whole life. Anime, manga, that, you know, as I've gotten older, it's been really great to be able to collect some of the old things I used to have, but then also continue my passion for collecting, and also my passion in kind of almost being like a historian in the space, and showing people how the Western world has influenced Japan and then vice versa. And I think, you know, we'll be able to uncover a lot of cool things. We'll have some fun, we'll make some jokes, and yeah, we'll see where this goes.
Hell yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So Medicom, like I was mentioning, is kind of like a legendary name, and I know that you've got just a ton of Medicom stuff.
Yeah.
So can you give me like a little bit of a kind of a rundown on how they started and kind of like what was going on with them as a company, like how they got to the point where they are now?
Yeah, well, I'm gonna start with Akashi-san. He took a vision that he had with toys. You know, he started at a, you know, he was a pencil pusher. He was working at a desk, and you know, he had such a passion for like movies like Terminator and Batman and all this Western kind of toy and cartoons and comics world, right?
Yeah.
And when he was in that corporate space, he literally would work and then spend his money in that stuff. And you know, through certain levels of introductions with people and people that were around him in his life, and he, you know, leveling up to companies, he created, in this world, he created something that is just iconic. Everywhere you go, you'll look at a bear brick, which will go into the differences between Kubrick and bear bricks and all that stuff in his company.
Yeah.
But, you know, you go anywhere and you see bears, or you see people have iterations of bears. In the collector game, in the street game, I really feel that Medicom was the reason that a lot of that stuff pops.
Yeah, definitely.
Right?
Yeah.
They really did their thing. And so, you know, what was really cool about him. Do you mind that I'm going into this?
No,
okay.
Let's
because it's just, for me, it's like one of the biggest things. So you guys know, watching on the other side of that lens, so you know, one of the biggest things that I always want to make sure that I do is I educate, and people get to understand the story behind a collectible or the story behind a movie. Because when you understand the stories and the passion behind the people that make it, then that collectible becomes priceless. There's so much more than just finding it on eBay or finding it on StockX, and it just becomes more.
Absolutely.
It allows us to really nerd out and just talk about stuff we love.
Exactly, it's like shared appreciation.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna censor myself out of most.
No.
All right. So with Akashi-san, it was really cool because it launched in 2000 as a Kubrick. And again, Akashi-san was a lover of film and everything that is art.
Yeah.
And it was called Kubrick in honor of Stanley Kubrick.
Oh, really?
Yes. Yeah. So, you know, that was a big That was a big thing for that. And you know, Clockwork Orange has a big history within Medicom, right? So he partnered up with, again, someone that once you learn this kind of history and you look at Bear Bricks and you look at Kubrick's, you'll be like, ah, that makes sense. He partnered up with someone that was from Lego, a Lego designer.
Gotcha, okay. Yeah,
so by partnering up with that, you look at now a Kubrick. And
and it looks like a minifig.
It looks like a minifig, right? So I think that's really cool, where you can look at a collectible and you can trace the roots. Like, all right, that's badass. Where are the roots leading down to what was the inspiration to the artist? Right? Another one is Cause. That has a story, which we'll do an episode.
Yeah, absolutely. We're gonna have to.
Right.
Too much stuff.
But Cause and Medicom have a history as well.
Yeah,
that's what's really cool when you start tying all this stuff together.
Yeah. So you're saying, like, well, you're talking about like his love of movies and stuff too. Medicom's like just got like this crazy history of collaborating with stuff. And like, wasn't one of the first collaborations or one of the first releases like Neon Genesis Evangelion, like the anime property?
I believe that was the first.
Really?
That's what brought it to market.
So that was what I was familiar with Kubrick's from back in the day. That's what I knew from them from. And then obviously other collaborations they've done, but I remember that being like one of the earliest. So that
that definitely, like, it's one of the things, like when you look at Japanese culture, like what better way to launch a collectibles line than with that property?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that was one of the first. And as you go through the Kubrick line, it expands from anime manga themed properties all the way to like Andy Warhol, Basquiat. Like his creation has become a canvas. And in a non-conventional sense, meaning like these figures have become canvases. So the street game right now owes a lot to Japan and Akashi-san for what was created. Everyone wants to create a collectible with them. Everyone wants to do work with them. And it just really is cool to be able to, as a grown-up, collect those. And now they come, I mean, I can get real specific because they come in different sizes. Like, you know, you have the 100%ers, which are about this big. You then have the 400%, which are right behind us, and then you have the 1000%. Now you have some that are the 150s, which are the keychain ones. And there have been bigger ones than 1000 made.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I imagine they've probably done like statue size ones.
For sure. And they always level up. They go up percentages wise. And it's all based on the size of the 100%.
Nice.
Right? So that's the kind of cool thing.
That's
right?
awesome.
It's very mathematical. One of my first pieces was the Warhol.
Oh, really?
Kubrick, the Warhol Kubrick. And I, invited you down to San Diego one time to visit.
Check them out,
my house in San Diego, my office is like set up where it's, my wife just kind of like you have one room and that's it, right? And I said, I'll take one room. But it's crazy to, and just tell me if I'm talking too much.
No, you're good.
Very passionate about Medicom.
Go for it.
It's really crazy to understand the trajectory of Medicom. And it started in 2000 with some properties, and it just went gangbusters to where, like, I think it was a year and a half later, he launched another line. Right? And that was what we now know as the Bear Brick. And the Bear Brick has a little at symbol as the A. And that's because the first iteration was just a white bear brick. I'm almost certain, we will research, but I think the first one was a white bear brick with just a red at.
Really?
And that's where people, that's where it all started.
Interesting.
And now you go, we're 18 years into Bear Bricks, almost 20 years into the Kubrick. And you see everything from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Attack on Titan, freaking Astro Boy or Atom Boy, which we'll go into. I think we should do an episode just on that property alone.
Absolutely.
Because we can then go across the whole gamut of collectibles and streetwear.
Absolutely.
But then you have some back here that are branded to Rick and Morty. We'll take a closer look at some if you want later.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And then, again, a freaking staple Japanese brand, Atmos, has done some really awesome bear bricks, and we have a couple of them back there.
Bear Brick's like the bigger of the properties that they do now, right?
Yeah. And they do there's other things that they do.
Yeah.
Medicom has a lot of toys.
Yeah, like the action figures.
The Daft Punks, the Pharrells, but yeah, in regards to the collector space, I really do think those are the ones that really the collector world has grabbed onto from a currency standpoint, I'll say. Because anybody that collects art understands art as currency. Yeah. And I think the bear brick primarily is one that is used as art currency. Yeah, I noticed on their US website actually that if you look at like the listing of all the previous collabs that they've done, most of them don't have like a buy link anymore. It has a buy on eBay link. Yeah, because they limited runs, it's not like they're producing for the masses. Yeah. A great example is the Hebrew Bradley Bape bear brick. Yeah. One of my favorite bear bricks. It just the colorway, the Pantones, the way they incorporated his flyboy character with the Bape hoodie and the Bape aesthetic. Shout out to Hebrew, he's a homie. They only made 100 of them. Really? Yeah. And I believe in the US, not the US, in California, I think LA only had 3 of them. Really? I got one. So it so it really is cool that they do that. So when you talk about currency with it, like obviously like in the art world, things have value. Like what do you think is the most expensive bear brick that, like, on the secondhand market, if you were to see it for sale, what do you think the most expensive one would be at this point? I have one that'll go for like $25,000. Oh, really? Yeah. But I'd have to look at, like, their catalog is so massive. I'd have to look at like the catalog to research it, because the one bad thing about the resale market is that there's no governing body. Yeah. People will pay what they want for something if the seller's just hiking up the price. Yeah. Right? So there's standards, and there's like, this will range. I have like the Cause Chomper, I have a couple dissected Cause. And those, someone will sell it for $6,000. Other ones will keep it and sell it for $11,000 because the person doesn't do the market research, or they just want the piece. Gotcha. And to them, that's what that art is worth. Yeah. But unlike cars and gold that fluctuates up and down, the art currency is pretty steady. It normally goes up. You're never because they don't make more of it. They don't make more of it, right? Even when you look at the Cause companions that were relaunched, the original fakes. It's technically not a restock or it's a new edition. It's a brand new piece. Like, they're totally different sizes and everything, right? So Medicom isn't going to go into their archives and make another 30,000 Warhols. So they're like really smart about like. They're extremely well, yeah, because in that justifies the price points. You can get 1,000% bear brick anywhere from $599 to $800. Oh, that range. Yeah, that's like retail. Yeah, right. The resale market on some will go to 1,000, 1,100, and those are normal ones. But then you have like some of the Star Wars ones are pretty dope. You have the Andy Warhol, you have the Brotherhood. There's some that are like go real high. Crazy. We'll take a tour of the store as well one day. We'll go in and we'll just chop it up and his collection is insane. He was showing me some pictures earlier, and stuff that he's got is just like what the hell. We'll do parts 2 and 3 for this. There's so much to cover. We're gonna have to. And it's just a passion, and to me it allows us to tell stories. It allows us to you know, show kids, because someone may think like Fragment as only a sneaker.
Yeah.
Like, oh, they did the Nike.
Yeah.
Oh, or they do bags, and they don't understand the brand that's been built for Fragment and the type of collabs that they've done with Medicom.
Because they've done Bear Bricks before too.
They've done several. You know, and they did a collab. I have the because it's Mickey's anniversary, the Mickey's anniversary, which I think is the 90th
anniversary.
And I have the Fragment Bear Brick Mickey. I have the undefeated one, which are super dope. But then I also have the Freemason pack for the Fragment ones. Fragment did a Freemason pack of Bear Bricks.
Really?
Yeah. So it's really cool. So I have that whole pack. So just, you know, it's a cool way to also support brands that you really mess with and that are really there in the streets. They're really doing stuff. They're really being creative and just adding a lot of value to something that you already love.
For sure. So if somebody weren't familiar with like picking them up and how to find them and whatnot, what's the easiest way to pick these up in the US that isn't eBay secondhand?
So shout out to Bait. You know, Bait is, you know, part of the OTAQUEST family, right?
Absolutely.
We're gonna have a couple of the Bait people on the show. They're part of my family, and Bait, I think, really just solidified Medicom's game in America. And the exclusives that they drop, the accessibility. Like you walk into a store and you're able to look at like at least 15,000% Bear Bricks that range from $10,000 to $599.
Wow.
So like it's not just, you don't walk in and it's just a $600 Bear Brick. They have some of the higher end ones there.
And they're for sale?
For sale.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
crazy.
So I think you look at Bait, there's some other places that do have retail accounts in the US, but everyone's trying to catch up to what Bait's done, right? They really have gone in and so much that when you go to Complex Con, Medicom partners with Bait to create the Medicom Gallery.
Oh wow.
And they will show the next 12 months
so they're basically the go-to if you're looking at it.
They're the go-to. They're definitely the go-to, and they're the barometer for like what's going to be cool.
Gotcha.
You know, because with everything, like not everything is a slam dunk with any brand.
Of course.
So like not everything that Medicom drops is going to be a home run.
Yeah.
It's going to be cool to a niche, small audience, or it's going to speak to the masses.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, but that's what I love about the company. They will speak to the small niche.
Yeah.
They're like, we hear you, we're gonna put it out.
You mentioned they make 100 pieces of something,
yeah,
of course
like, we hear you know?
Yeah.
Bait last year, they did the gold Bait Bear Brick, and they 1000%, and they designed the box to look like a gold brick, and I think they only had like 200 pieces.
Really?
Yeah, so it's like, that's when these collectors are coming in and buying 2 of them.
Yeah.
That's when there's resellers coming in and buying 2 of them. They're having people wait in line just to buy that Bear Brick because it's currency to them.
Yeah.
You know, so
not much different than the shoe game, basically.
Not much different, yeah. Which we'll get into the shoe game one day.
It's a whole different story for sure.
Yeah.
Damn, that's pretty dope. I know they have a shop in Tokyo. I passed by a lot in Shibuya, and I needed to stop in and like. I've had Bear Bricks in the past, but I never really got into the collectible nature of it. So it's kind of cool to hear a little bit of the background on that. I think future episode we can kind of break some. Do you want to talk about some of the ones we have back here real quick though?
I mean, I'll show some of the Atmos ones.
Yeah.
Because I think these are like super indicative of the Japanese culture.
Oh yeah.
And also like a Japanese brand really going outside and, you know, doing their thing. And then, I mean, again, the Rick and Morty's back here, if you look past Eddie's head, the Rick and Morty's are great. Bait dropped those last year, exclusive at Comic-Con. They sold like hotcakes.
Oh, I believe it.
And it's just, you look at the cartoon and you're like, how can they put it on a bear? But it's just the little things. It's the clear ears, but they've used it still to show the hair because that looks like the character.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just really smart.
Yeah,
really
clever.
smart.
Like you said, it's like a canvas.
Yeah.
Clever use of the canvas,
Yeah.
for sure.
And so for Atmos, to me, I love the diversity in what they do, and I love how these play off of a lot of the sneakers that they do.
Yeah, because they're primarily a sneaker brand.
They are primarily a sneaker brand. They have some great collabs with Nike, and one of them is the animal pack, which this one is like, I mean, come on. It's got
the cheetah spots.
And tiger. Yeah, what would that be? A shagger? A shagger? Cheetah tiger? Like this one right here. You've got like this elephant print one, which is also was part of the packs. And then this one's really cool. It's see-through. It's got the little what are the star beads inside. And then it's got that, if you look right there, it's got the Bear Brick A, that little logo, which is what started it all.
That's
right?
awesome.
You know? And again, Medicom has also done sneaker collabs.
Oh, really?
They have a couple SBs. You know, I have a couple of the Medicom SBs.
Oh, nice.
And it's really cool. And again, to a collector, those SBs are worth money.
Yeah.
Right? So it's really cool. When we look at some of my sneakers on another episode, if you're gonna have me back.
No, absolutely.
Like
I said, this is gonna be recurring.
Yeah,
So.
I'll pop in one of the Bear Brick sneakers, the SBs.
Hell yeah.
Again, you look at also, you know, graph writing and the Western culture and the impact that it has had in Japan.
Yeah.
And you look at Mr. Stash. Stash is
He's like a legend.
He's a legend and he's
Yeah.
iconic.
So earlier, actually, it's crazy that you have this one. Last year, we got to do an interview with Futura because he was doing the EXPG studio painting here in LA, and Stash was actually there helping him. Yeah,
Like,
it was super
that was
dope.
crazy.
Yeah.
Stash was in Japan recently helping Futura doing a lot of stuff. Like,
Yeah.
they're homies, they're like straight homies.
Yeah.
And it's really cool to see like Stash, this Bear Brick is super dope because Stash uses a pattern. And it's a pattern of the spray paint can tops, right? He's done resin collectibles that are spray paint can, different colors, and you just see all these little spray paint can tops inside. And on this one, it's got his logo over the left eye, and it's literally the same pattern. It's all these little spray paint can tops.
Yeah, the detail on it's crazy.
It's a nod to graph writing and just art in general. The splatter of paint as if he was spray painting.
Yeah.
And then his graph writing logo, and then another free hand in the front. I love that one.
Yeah.
Again, I've got a lot of things that we'll pull. What I love about what Akashi-san created is the fact of the diversity across the board. There's something for everybody. Now, we were touching on that. They touch almost every IP. They are not afraid to do things outside the box.
Yeah.
And everyone wants a Bear Brick now.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to do a collaboration. It's crazy the time that these collaborations take.
Yeah.
It's not just like I couldn't call up Medicom and say, hey, I want a Bear Brick tomorrow. It takes time. It takes a lot of time to go through their process because they're very meticulous about the quality and they're very meticulous about the art.
Yeah.
And that's why I think the company's a success. You know, there's two companies in the collector space right now that I just think are killing it, and that's Funko and Medicom. You have other companies that are doing great, like Good Smile out of Japan.
Yeah.
And then you have All Rights Reserved out of Asia as well. All Rights Reserved is doing some really cool things too. So I think I've given you a nice little tour
So I guess we'll have to explore some of the individual things in like future episodes. But yeah, that's awesome. It's like a lot of insight. It's a lot to take in too. So hopefully, like you guys can digest that pretty easily. Like I mentioned at the beginning, this is the first of many. We should be doing some more of these pretty soon, and eventually we're just gonna like break it out and let you do your own thing because you're. In my eyes, you're like an expert in this field, so it'd be dope to like just let you run wild with it.
I'm just a grown-up that's really a kid.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not kindred spirit. Man.
Yeah,
Kindred
yeah.
spirit. So yeah, comment below if you're familiar with bear bricks. Let us know which ones are your favorites. If there are any that you want to try to find or that you think are particularly cool. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and check back with us soon because there's definitely going to be another episode coming up. Thanks, guys.
Let's create a show called Bear Brick Hunters.